Today I'm going to be replacing the silicone inside our bathroom because I have been putting this off for literally months on end because I don't think there's anybody in the world who enjoys removing silicone and then reapplying it because, let's be honest, it's a bit of a pain in the arse. But today, hopefully, it's going to go nice and smooth and hopefully you're going to pick up some little hints and tips along the way. So let's stop crapping, let's get cracking and let's get fired in. Let's do this, baby. Woo! Aww. So, a few things you're going to need. Stanley knife with a new blade in, nice and sharp. Got some silicone remover. You've not got to use this, but it's there if you need it. Silicone remover and finishing tool. Just got that from Screwfix. £10. Hopefully that's going to be coming in useful. Some blue roll. No, that's not for wiping an elephant's arse. That is for when you're applying the silicone later on. So I'll show you how I'm going to be using that. Silicone or mastic gun, whatever you want to call it. And obviously silicone, whichever's going to float your boat. Clear or white or whatever colour you're going to be using. But for some of you eagle-eye viewers out there, you've probably seen that there's one thing on here that I've not got that you do not need to use. If you're a DIYer, like myself, you do not need this. And I'm going to tell you what it is later on in the video, so stick around. But the first thing we need to do is to get rid of all this black, horrible, mouldy silicone. So let's start cutting it out. So like I said, the first thing we're going to be doing is removing the silicone. And the tempting thing to do is to get your knife just like this and just start hacking away at the silicone like that. Because what you're going to find you're going to start doing, I don't know if you can see that just in there, but you're going to start scratching whatever's behind there. So that could be your bathtub, your shower tray like we've got, your window. I don't know if you can just see that, but let's just start scratching it, and that is the last thing you want because it's just going to look a complete mess. What you need to try and do is get your knife, get the blade in behind the silicone just like that and pull it down. You're cutting it away from what's behind there. You don't want to be cutting into any plastic, any bathtub, anything like that. So you're going to do that all the way down if you can. And you'll do it on the other side as well. Just slide your knife in, pull the blade down, just like that. And you can already see that there's a colour difference in it because that's where it started to pull away from the surface behind. So then all you got to do is, this is just for show you, then that should just then now pull that bit. And look at that. Just pulls away. And then you can get your little tool for going in. Oop. Just work that down. And there you go. It comes off as easy as that. So you've tried to remove as much of the silicone as you can, but there is always a little bit that you just can't seem to get, or it just doesn't want to come off, and it's a real pain in the neck. Well, that's where this silicone remover comes into play. So all I'm going to do now, I'm going to open it and I'm going to apply it all the way around where the silicone's been. Leave it, it says for 15 minutes, but I like to leave it for about half an hour just to make sure that it's done what it needs to do. And then we should be able to quite easily wipe away all the remaining silicone that's around this window frame. So all you got to do is open it, and it comes with a little brush to apply it. It's just a bit like jelly in there. Then all you got to do is just brush it onto the area like so. So I'm just brushing it all the way around here. I'm just going to go all the way around this windowsill. And then, like I said, we're going to leave it half an hour, let it do its magic, and then we'll remove it and all the remaining bits of silicone that we've not been able to get off. So I've applied a nice generous coat of that all the way around there. All I'm going to do now while that is doing its magic, I'm going to go around the shower tray and the screen just there, and I'm going to remove all of that gross silicone. Just come off all in one go, just like that. Look at that. Oh. Look at that. Ew, it's gross. It's like removing wallpaper silicone. You're either going to get a little bit or you're going to get a lot, just like that. But there we go. Hopefully the rest of this is going to be exactly the same, because this has been on for absolutely ages and there's not a lot left on it, to be fair. It is pretty bad. So I've left the remover on for half an hour. All I'm going to do now is going to scrape off any excess. Just go around like that. Comes off nice and easy, look at that. So I'll go around with the blue roll into the corners, get it all off, get the paste off as well. So once I've removed it with the kitchen roll, it says on the instructions, wipe up residues and then wash the area using soapy water and dry thoroughly before applying new sealant. But the last thing you want to be doing is applying soapy water, loads of it anyway, because you're going to get some where you're not going to be able to dry it. So I'm just going to be using a damp cloth, no soap, just I've literally dipped its toes in. It's barely wet at all, so I'm just going to go around now, just give it a quick finish off any bits off. Make sure there's all that paste that I put on is going to be coming off. Any bits. So now we've got that sealant and all that sealant remover off, cleaned up, ready to go. It's now time to get some sealant on this window, finally. So I've got my sealant, got my finishing tools. I've decided which one I'm going to go with. They're all different sizes and shapes as to what bead you want finishing when you go around with it. So I've decided which one I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with this one and a number 8, because that's what I've used before and I know the kind of finish that I'm going to get with that. So all I'm going to do now is cut the tip off of here. Now, the further in you go, the thicker the bead is going to be. You can cut it at different angles if you like. Some people tend to have like a 45 degree. I like to do about a 20, something like that. I feel like I'm in more control of it when it's coming out then. So that's what I do. I'll just cut that off round about there. I don't want it too thick when it's coming out. So a nice little thin bead coming out. So it's nice and manageable when you're going around your window or whatever you're sealing up, your bath, your shower, your sink, whatever. So the one thing that everybody's done, guaranteed, is use washing up liquid in a squirty bottle. You do not need to use it. As soon as you start applying this, either before or after, you're compromising the seal of the silicone that is going on. Don't use it. And also, don't do that. When you're applying your silicone and you're trying to get a nice smooth finish, don't use your finger, because you've got germs and different organisms living in there that you're transferring into the silicone that is then going to help the growth of mould and all that sort of horrible black stuff that grows and develops in your silicone. So don't do that. And don't use this. Okay? Fantastic news. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. So when you're applying your silicone, you want to try and come down in one motion. You don't want to be stopping and starting. The less times you stop and start, the better. Just try and keep it going all the way along. It's just going to make it easier when you have to start smoothing it out. And right into the corner. And that looks shit. So I've got my bead on. Just going to get my applicator right at the top in the corner. And I'm just going to drag that down. Might not be perfect to begin with, but we can fettle that out. There we go. So all I've got to do now is just go over that a couple of times and then that'll be perfect. Trust me. Apply a decent amount of pressure on as well. Helps get it in that joint and also gives you a nice smooth finish. You just got to
Take your time with it and know when's enough is enough. That's the problem. You get carried away, you think, oh, I'll just do a little bit more, just do a little bit more. And that's when you bottles it up and you have to start again. There's nothing worse than taking it all off. So I'm relatively happy with that. And it's only taken a couple of minutes. There we go. Enough's enough. I'm stopping at that. For a DIY job, I'm happy. We'll take that all day long. So that's it, we're done, we're finished. The window's done. That's all sealed and finished. There you go, look at that. The shower's done as well. Look at that, looks bloody amazing, look at that. Oh my God. Done all in between the joints as well, because the last thing you want is that leaking. So, we're done. We are finished. Nice little DIY job on a bank holiday Monday. What do you want to be doing? What else can you be doing? What else would you want to be doing? Nothing. You can't beat a bit of DIY on a bank holiday Monday. So, that is it for now. Join me next time. I will see you later. Ta-da, see you there. Bye. Aww.